I'm Ashton Bingham.
My name is Art Kulik.
Today we're here to answer your questions from Twitter. This is Scam Support. All right, first up from All Things Tony. How do scam call centers even get our numbers? I literally never even give mine out. This is called data harvesting, and there's no way to avoid it.
We have undercover agents in India working for call center, and they literally told us so many times that bosses of call center, they will send people to America so they can get jobs at any database, phone companies, and they will literally get all information and sell it back to India. All our data is flying internationally. You cannot do nothing about it.
Any newsletter you sign up for, any time you interact with a business,
put your email, your cell phone, your table reservation restaurant.
Your data is harvested and it's sold all the time. There's a lot more laws in place now about you having to physically opt in and have to consent to the data. And now the cookie approval, like on every website, you have to accept it. By you doing that, you are giving consent for your activities online to be logged and used against you for advertising. Data lists that could be sold from company to company. And there are data brokers that all have your information. I'm like, I've never even heard of any of these companies. Moving on. Strawberries.
Strawberries.
Why do scam texts always have a spelling or grammar mistake? It's almost like they do it on purpose to give you a little clue. It's very common to have grammatical and spelling mistakes. I have heard a theory, and I don't think it's too far-fetched, that it is intentional because they're trying to grasp a particular person that would fall for this, and they don't want to waste their time talking to someone that wouldn't fall for this. I don't know if it's true. I think it's because they're all international.
All international. English is second, third language, and they're just trying to find a way to get your money, and they're making a lot of mistakes.
Next up from Cody Sky. How do scam callers get paid? Hourly or commission? Both.
Both.
They have varying sizes of operations from just a few people in an apartment to literally 5,000 people on a staff in a major business complex.
There is an opener, person who is opening the phone. Hi, my name is John Wilson, and I'm here, this and this. There is a closer. So every single position get paid different money. But the more you scam, you're going to get commission. You're going to get bonus for that.
So if you scammed an extra $5,000,
5,000
you get an extra 5,000 rupees as a commission, which honestly is kind of sickening because it all goes to the bosses. It's like, what, 80 rupees per dollar? The bosses pull in millions and millions of dollars on a sometimes weekly basis. Next up. The Gregory Cole. Why do con artists use WhatsApp? A couple different reasons. First of all, it's hard to track, and it works internationally without any barrier. A lot of these scammers are not in the States, and that's not to say there aren't scammers in the States, because there are. It's really easy. They can just claim a number. They can do whatever they got to do to text you. There's really no barrier to entry. It doesn't cost them any money. It's free. It's secure in the sense that they know that they're never going to be tracked or found out. It's a similar strategy to the robocall. So they'll put out billions of fish hooks, and even if a couple people grab them, they're basically waiting for you to reply and say, wrong number. And once you do, they know it's an active number. They know they're talking to a person, and then they can start up a conversation. Sometimes it might turn into a romance scam. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, wrong number? Sorry, I'm horny. I forgot. And here's a picture of me naked. Send me money to my Cash App. Next up from Borrowed Horses. Are there any good ways to protect your parents from phone scams? Communication and awareness is number one. We see it over and over and over again. These scammers are not just technically savvy, they're professional manipulators. They will put pressure, they will find a weakness, especially in an older person that might be vulnerable, and they will push on that as hard as they possibly can. Make sure your grandparents and your parents are aware of the tricks. A common scam that's now taking a resurgence is an IRS or a Social Security scam.
My God.
Which targets elderly people hardcore because that one plays on the fear. They say that you're going to get arrested because your Social Security number was associated with some crimes.
We found the car, a Toyota Corolla, 22 pounds of cocaine, blood,
and
drugs, and your ID. So what do you want to do?
Have them run things by you, or at least run it by somebody before they give any information to anybody. But we also need to communicate that if you were scammed, you need to talk about it. Like, you need to tell people what happened. You need to tell people what the tactics were that convinced you and not feel shameful or feel judged.
We really want that those victims will step up and show the world, hey, this is what happened to me. This is my story. Please learn from this story. And that's how you protect your neighbors and your loved ones.
Next up, It's not Kane. Somebody I don't know accidentally privately Venmo'd me 2 $60 payments for burritos and breakfast and is asking for a refund. Is this a scam? Yes.
Absolutely yes.
Common scam, especially through like Cash App and Venmo. Money was sent to you from a stolen credit card. They request the refund or the reimbursement and they replace it with their own card and then you send them the money. It may not necessarily hurt you because it comes in and goes out, but it's their way of basically laundering income through somebody's stolen credit card back to themselves. Next up from R.C. Lewin. How do I tell my uncle that the beautiful chick he's talking to online is a man trying to scam a huge amount of money without him getting offended? Need suggestions ASAP. I think he can invest $500,000. Is that what that means? Half M?
Half M.
Oh my God. Good on you for trying to find a way to communicate it, because that's really the hardest part, especially when they're emotionally scammed over a long period of time. The best thing I can suggest is not pushing on him any kind of judgment or any kind of, how could you believe this? Or don't make him feel bad for it. Just show him information. Show him videos about this stuff, about romance scams specifically. Tell him to try to talk to the person in a video chat. And I bet you this girl will have a reason why she can't.
When they ask for money, when they ask for gift card something, we will send them a link. When they click the link, we can get the location. That's why when person's saying like, hey, I'm from Florida, and when he clicked the link, guess what?
We got their IP and we know that they're in, Nigeria or wherever they are.
Country.
Next up is Alex Bobskers. I like that name. How do you know if an apartment listing on Craigslist is a scam? Asking for myself. You got to look for red flags. If it's too good to be true, given the housing market, price,
Always,
size,
yes.
all that stuff.
6,000 square feet, and you have to pay $400. That's, New York or Los Angeles.
Ocean View for $500.
Ocean View, $500. Number 2 is, we're traveling. We cannot give you keys.
If the rep you're talking to is avoiding any kind of direct communication or interaction with you, another red flag. They're always going to try to pressure you to act fast. You got to sign the lease now.
Yes.
There's someone else coming in with an offer, so they want you to do it quickly, but speak to somebody on the phone and ask questions. Next up from Agenta547. How do people fall for scam sites so easily? Like rule number 1 of the internet, don't click sketchy links. How do you forget? Anybody can be scammed. And if you don't believe me, go to Jim Browning's channel. He is considered the godfather of scam baiting. He's a legend. He was scammed out of his own channel. His whole channel was deleted. And he has a video explaining how it happened. It's mind-blowing. Anybody can be scammed, so don't think for 1 minute that you're above it because you think you're smarter. It doesn't work that way. Next up, 44Jax44. What's the most ridiculous scam you encountered?
We have 2 different stories, and it's just like both of them are glorious. You know how many scammers on Craigslist, right? So me and Ashton, we used to live together. We need a bigger house. We needed to rent an apartment. Scammer get back to us, and we already see red flags. It's a scammer.
1-bedroom apartment.
$650 for 1 bedroom.
In
West
Los
LA?
Angeles, West LA.
Let's
Look at the pictures.
And pictures
There's no
of
way.
washer and dryer.
So basically, we told scammer that we both astronauts. From the space, we brought an alien with us. And we asked, is it okay to sign this lease agreement? These aliens will be living in the basement of this house.
So we're going to breed it.
Yeah, we're going to breed it. We're going to make more aliens in our basement.
I just want to make sure the neighbors aren't going to be offended if there's some squealing.
You have no problem, just don't worry. Okay?
No problem.
No
Good.
problem.
So
Okay.
That's fantastic.
So scammer said, yes, you can breed more aliens in your basement. Just give me your money.
Flip side of that, we went to India in April to do a number of things. Meet up with some of our brothers that we've made, some ex-scammers that we've helped to change and reform their lives, but also to do some smuggling of some glitter bombs in collaboration with Mark Rober and Jim Browning. Essentially, we unleashed mayhem on a few different call centers.
It was only one problem. We got recognized on day 2.
And we learned very quickly that there are these Telegram groups where scammers will communicate with each other about a certain type of scam. Someone posted in that group, hey, we just saw Ashton and Art from Trilogy Media here in Sector 5. They might be with FBI. They're here to us. If you see them, shoot them. We had to go into hiding. It changed our whole plan. It almost scrapped the whole operation, but we were still able to make it happen. So we started with contraptions, and Messi took them in his backpack that had tons of cockroaches in them. And then he had a time delay stink bombs. He had smoke bombs, rats in another box. And then we shipped the glitter bombs in. And then
we
as
put
soon
the
as they open
name
it,
of the owner of this call center, and we sent that bomb, and they open it.
Moving on. SEMO. Why are there so many scam call centers in India? I think it's just demographics targeted with methods. That's why you see certain groups of scams in certain areas of the world.
That's why romance, it goes to Africa, right? Like tech support, it goes to India.
We've been to India. We've seen it firsthand. We're very close with a lot of people, amazing people from India, and they hate the scammers just as much as we do. Next up, Megan the NFT. Okay, but the real question is, how do we scam the scammers back? This is right in our wheelhouse because this is what we do every single day. We love to waste the scammers' time as much as possible because that's really the root of what this all is. Time costs them money. They have agents actively working, talking to you on the phone. We'll talk to them on the phone for 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. We're learning about their scam because throughout the process, they're doing all of their tactics, all of their things that usually make people fall for it when it works. So we learn what those things are. When we make the content, whether it's a video or a live stream, people can then watch those things and know what to look for. And then thirdly, the more time they're on the phone with us is the less time they're on the phone with your grandmother. And they're talking to us as our characters.
We do have characters, speaking of which. What is your stuff?
This is a character.
We have a voice changer. We can do females. We can do males. We can be young, old. Who is this?
This is Diana Diagonal. Tall wig, glasses, and a cigarette, and she's very snarky.
This is Olga Dildovich.
People always ask, why the hell do you wear wigs if you're just talking to them on the phone? But it's like, why not?
Yeah.
You should just do the rest of the interview with that on.
So anyways, different personalities, different characters.
Moving on. Chris the Fist. Why is Western Union a scam?
Well, first of all, Western Union, it's not a scam.
Western Union as a company,
It's a legit
I don't
company.
believe has nefarious intentions. I'll explain why they're associated with the word scam. It's because they send money internationally. It's a very common way for overseas scammers to accept money that they can get a cash pickup really easily at a location from a victim. And once the money is sent, they're never going to get it back. So it's really good for the scammers in the sense that it's reliable and they know that they can get cash very fast. Next up, a green photog. How do I get the IRS scam people to stop calling me 10 times a day?
You cannot.
Probably nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Keep blocking, keep reporting. FTC.gov, they got a ton of information about which scams are going on. And then just, block unknown numbers from your phone. If you're not in a line of work that needs to receive unknown phone numbers, then don't answer them. If they need to get a hold of you, they'll leave a message. Next up, Laura Perlongo. Do catfish scammers ever go to jail or nah?
Nah.
The answer is usually nah, especially with catfish scammers because it's a totally different type of scam and their identity is usually a lot harder to get. For catfish scams, it's usually starts on dating websites. Plenty of Fish, Grindr,
Tinder,
anything.
everything.
Essentially, they're pretending to be somebody else. Oftentimes, they're in the military or they're doing something that makes them like, I live in the United States, but I'm not there now. They eventually convince the victim that they're in a relationship and then they will need money for something. Oh, my plane got canceled. I need to book another flight. Oh, there's no water here in the village that I'm helping and we need...
My kid got diseases. My kid got sick.
It's usually smaller amounts over multiple times over a long period of time as long as they can keep the victim hooked. In fact, the scammer we're going to confront here tomorrow morning, it's a cash mule that lives in New York. He's been receiving money from this woman who believes she's in a relationship with this guy in Africa for over 8 years. And she sends almost the entirety of her social security check every month to this mule. And he lives here in New York.
Donated her own plasma.
She doesn't have a plaza, so she's easily sent this guy probably over $250,000.
Yeah.
And it's all going through this guy in New York who we're going to his door tomorrow morning. All right, next up from Fulani Tudor. Why are scammers rude after they get caught? When we disrupt their operation, it makes them mad and it makes the bosses mad too because no one's making any money.
They're very nasty. They're gonna blast you every single word, they want to beep every single person in your family, your mom, everyone.
They always hate our moms for some reason.
They always want to do something with your mom.
Next up from Auntie Bex. Is it just me or has there been an increase in scams lately? Calls, links, texts, everything.
Yes.
It's not just you, Auntie Bex.
Especially what happened recently with pandemic. Scammers love when there is some instability.
People need jobs, people need money, people are hungry, people have power outages. Anything like that they can use to reel you in to either help you or change your life is enough of a kick to get you to go get some gift cards. So yes, there's a huge increase in scams. It's not just you. Be on the lookout. Be careful. All right, next from Wooji and. Why do romance scammers always pose as American military dudes? I don't get it. It's a common story because it allows them to play the excuse of traveling often and being away and being unavailable because the scammer usually is in a different part of the world. So they need an excuse as to why they're talking at odd hours, why they can't video chat, why their connection is bad, and why they can't visit them. Next up, Bo Black 98. Why did the Nigerian prince scam work so well? So the Nigerian prince scam, as it's been coined, starts with an email. So you get an email to your spam folder that says, hi, I am so-and-so. I'm a prince in Nigeria, and I have all this money, and it's yours. But of course, for me to ship it to you, sometimes it's cash, sometimes it's consignment boxes with gold bricks. But for me to ship it to you, you got to pay an activation fee. Scammers, and I say this every time as to why they're so effective, they prey on one of two things, sometimes both, which is either fear of something happening to you or playing towards your dreams of things you want to happen to you. And of course, everyone wants $65 billion to be sent to them from a Nigerian prince's vault. And finally, Tet Hagorg, dog. How do I block Scam Likely from calling me?
What's up, dog?
Hey, the Scam Likely thing is a good thing because that's somewhat recent, whereas before you would always just get a phone number and you wouldn't know if it's Scam Likely. There are lots of apps you can use. One we personally use is called RoboKiller, and it allows you to not only block the call, but it'll answer it on your behalf and waste their time with pre-recorded answer bots that you can actually find us in, which is really fun. You can also, too, just block, like, if it's not a number in my contacts, it doesn't even ring. Like, it'll go straight to voicemail. Well, that's all the questions for today.
We're really hoping that you learned something from our questions.
Thank you for watching, and until next time.
Till next time.